My thing is, these are the most fruitless, ineffective people that the
Hmm.
only thing they're good for is repeating talking points, and saying how we need to go back to Marcus Garvey, we need to go back to Malcolm X, we need to go back to some of these other different guys that have a certain rhetoric, but they're not willing to move it forward. These are people who were stuck in the past, which means that they're very drama specific in the trauma.
You
Now,
said
I
is
say
it?
all that to
You
say is
said
that when it comes
trauma.
to their purpose
You said
in the
trauma
trauma,
and drama.
they they have a drama focused based on the drama focus based on trauma. Now, now that all of that brings me to the purpose. The purpose is to
Arrogant.
keep you stuck. That is their purpose. I'll rest the mic.
I guess that was a word. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I really am having this live because I'm really curious, and I don't know. This isn't really their neck of the woods over. Ooh, Lord, why y'all just let me come on the internet look at any kind of way? I got lotion all up in my hair. Y'all ain't saying that. Y'all really don't like me. I noticed that. Um, Even the comment section, y'all very ruthless. What did what did I want to say? I just find it interesting. That's all. And I'm not trying to do a rage bait. I'm not trying to do, I'm just very curious. What is, and I got you, Brian. I'm very curious is what is the reason? Like, why, what's the goal? Like, is there something at the end of the road that we can say, well, you know what? We're working towards this. And this is what we're accomplishing along the way. Because I have seen, like, I'll be honest with you, I have, as I was saying before, when I was live before, I have interacted with them, but their B1-ness or their FBA-ness is never a subject with the encounters I've had with certain members over there. So, Miss Passion, what's your opinion? And don't go crazy because I will block you.
Not the block. Um, it's an interesting question because I would like to know that as well, and I get it.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm all for my people. I'm there for my people. Yes, I do
Hmm.
put my people first, low key, before I put the other people first. But what is the sole purpose of being B1 or FBA? And yeah, Brian, those whole tips, yeah, I'd heard a couple of them over the years, and baby, I just don't be
Baby.
understanding.
Yeah, for me, I'm just very curious. So, y'all, I don't know, and I will say this: anybody, and let me be very clear before we get it popping. Yeah, usually we start off, and we don't chase numbers over here. Let me be very clear: this is not a rage bait at all. We are about quality over quantity, and I will say that every day, all day with my life. I do not have this subject to have them all come over here and start acting ignorant. I would like for anybody in the chat that knows anybody who's in FB1, FBA, B1. I'm laughing at myself. Calm down. To share the live and have one of them come over here and kind of break it down for us. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for any confrontation. Who is in the
Remember
internet
that guy,
tonight?
remember that
Brian?
guy who he and I had an exchange
Yeah, but he's an Israelite,
recently?
right? He's an
Yeah,
Israelite.
100%. Absolutely. Yes, he is. I think he would be a great, I'm not going to say contributor, but I think he would advocate for that community because he is one.
Hello,
Interesting.
sir.
Hello.
How you doing? My name
I'm
is
just
Albert Light.
hydrated. I'm hydrated and highly favored. You?
Okay, I'm good. My name is Albert Light. I'm FBA, and here's
Okay.
why. I'm born in Chicago, Illinois, Cook County Hospital. I have had a lot of family reunions. I had the Lees, the Wilsons, the Jacksons. I have never had the Matubus, the Shuhus, and the Tubays come to my family reunion. There's nothing in my family that's got immigrants in it. I don't have no Haitians, no Jamaicans, no nothing. All
Ooh, wait,
black.
hold on, sir. Just really
Go
quick.
ahead.
Hold on, just really quick.
Yes, sir.
So I am. I know it's your first time over here, but I am. My father is Jamaican. I'm half Jamaican, and my mother is
Okay.
Trinidadian. But let me be very clear. I don't know if you know or if you're aware of the history when it comes to Jamaicans. I'm just going to give you 30 seconds, right? I'm going to give you 30 seconds of history. Do you not know that during the transatlantic slave trade, a lot of people from Senegal and that area, hold on, y'all need to go on mute, that area were in the United States, right? Let's just say they were put in the United States. Now, what happened was that a lot of people from Senegal and places like that, when they landed in the United States as slaves, a lot of them had what we call slave revolts. History's not going to tell you about all of them, right? So what they would do is they would send those slaves that were problematic. And it's very interesting to me that y'all know about bug breaking, y'all know about all these other things that happened during slavery, but y'all always seem to forget that what also happened was that they sent a lot of these problems, they sent them to places like Jamaica. Why did they send them to Jamaica? Is because the sugarcane fields. Sugarcane fields, of course, very different than picking cotton, very different than picking tobacco. They have actually found bones of sugarcane's enslaved people where this part of their arm was actually deformed and turned in because of how much they were hacking. So the interesting thing is that you have a lot of people who started Jamaicans. A lot of Jamaicans were in North America before. Like, a lot of y'all don't know that. That's like, you can Google, that is information that is Googleable.
Okay. But back to me. I'm talking about my life, what I learned with
Shit, back to
who
me.
I grew up, back to who I grew up with. And there was no Haitian flags. There was no African flag. It was all about people fighting for my civil rights here. My people here. You know, you want to talk about y'all people, but when I talk about my people that gave me the right to be married for 35 years, that gave me these rights to be retired and get the same pay the right man got to raise the kids because I retired from a college. I got to send them to a college. See, my people died and put blood over here for me to do that.
Let's watch
Hold
our
on. And when they
let's
did
wait,
that,
no, we're
they
gonna
didn't
watch our
have no
TikTok
African
language.
flag.
We're going to
Okay,
watch
yes,
our
sir. Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna
Yes,
watch our
sir.
language. That's one
Yes,
thing we're
sir.
gonna do.
But okay, yes, sir. But when they did all that, they didn't have no Haitian flags in their hands. They didn't have no African flags in their hands. They fought for me to have these civil rights here. You understand?
Okay.
Here.
Okay, so I understand that. I'm
Okay.
first of all, let me be very clear, right? We have the conversation over here. Like, we're not over here to be like, coming at each other. We just don't
No,
do
not
that.
at all.
So what I will say is, and the question to me is, I want to know why the separation, right? Why the separation? Because no matter if you're FBA, B1, our YT counterparts, our Asian counterparts, our Latino counterparts are going to. I don't think that they're going to do. I think they just see Negro.
Well, if that's the case, big guy, and we
No,
got the same enemy, I'm just asking. When you said we talking and we are, if that's the case and we got the same enemy, well, last month I was fighting the Mexicans about using the N words. I ain't see them Haitians and Africans over there with them accents saying, "Don't call us the N word." They let me do that fighting. You understand? So how we got the same enemies?
so, well, I think that is an interesting point. I mean, if you're talking about just on this app, then okay. But I'm on this app, but I'm also in reality. I live in the real world, and you rest assured that if I hear a Mexican or a Mexican saying the N word, I'm going to address it in real life. I'm not going to address it just on an app. I mean, that's ridiculous to think that people simply because they were born in one place or another, that they are not going to address racism. Especially, I don't know any black person of any ethnicity that would not address that. So I don't know if
I do.
Okay, well,
Because
I
I've been on these apps, I've been in these fights, and I ain't had y'all fight with me aside me. I done had a many of
who
my
is
people
y'all?
fight.
Who is y'all?
Haitians, Africans, any immigrant that claimed that we got the same enemies.
Okay,
Anyone that
I
say
think
we're
that's
all
very
black and we got
interesting.
the same
Well,
enemy.
let me be very clear with you. Yeah,
Having
my father's from Jamaica. My mother's from Trinidad, but I was very much born in New York. I won't tell you. Well, if you really want to know, Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. So no matter how you put it, north, south, east, and west. Yeah, I'm a United States citizen. So you can take that with however you want, but that passport says New York, New York, United States of America. So you can take that how you want to.
Thanks for having me, host.
Hey, you can take it how you want to, but you asked about a black FBA, and I'm telling you the point, and I'm talking because I'm FBA. How about
Okay,
that?
so okay, yeah,
Okay.
no, that's all good in the neighborhood. My question is, what is the purpose? What is the end result? Are y'all saying that anybody? Because from what I'm gathering from you, is you're saying anybody who is not foundational Black American. So we shouldn't even be concerned about anything that has to do with Black people. I should only be concerned with Trinidadians and Jamaicans.
The thing is, when you come over here and you sit up here and you say we all got the same enemy, and then you start talking about the people that I'm fighting, like putting my face
Well,
on crime and call it black on black crime, you're not helping me
I
fight
never
that.
said that. I never
You
said
see
that.
what I'm saying? No, you never did.
I
But
get
you
what you
telling me
mean,
my
but
picture,
I think
you
when
telling
I
me
have
my picture, hold on, big guy, you telling me my picture. See, and my grandson and my kids that ain't either can't walk are criminal because they got my picture, like they got the Mexican picture on deportation. They got my picture over here on black crime. So I'm over here fighting for my grandson to have the right of not being a criminal, sir. You understand that? You know, this black
I get
American
that.
stuff over here.
I get that, but
Okay?
I just get it. I find it very, very interesting that you don't think that we have the same enemy. You know, both my parents and people that have been in this life know, you know, uh, both my parents are doctors. Yeah. My father is a surgeon. My mother, I'm not going to tell you, but she's a doctor. And she
Mm.
had white people spit all up in her face. So it's not like my parents just jumped on a boat all of a sudden and just kept, they've been in the United States since they were like teenagers. So, like I said, their enemy did not say, oh, you know what? You're from Trinidad. You're good. Yeah.
Okay, but
Can I
When
answer
check
those
the
this
white
out.
question?
men,
But okay, go ahead.
when those white men were spitting on my mother when she was in medical school, that was her enemy. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me to
But check. But
a lot of
okay,
y'all,
go ahead.
and this is what I'm starting to
Yo,
understand is
can I
a lot of y'all
interject?
can't decipher.
Can I chime in, please, to the prompt?
Y'all don't realize. I don't know. I wanted to try to get some understanding, and I know y'all used to being combative in a lot of y'all lives, but over here it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna say my piece because I'm the host, and I will listen at will. So, what I will certainly say, and if y'all don't like it, it's okay. There's thousands of lives happening right now. What I will say is, I find that disjointed and a little janky when you say that me as a black man, simply because my parents are Jamaican, one of my parents is Jamaican and one of them is Trinidadian, that we don't have the same enemy. That to me is wild. Alrighty,
Okay, well here we
baby,
go. Here we
baby,
go. Here we go.
baby,
Oh,
baby, please.
Thank you for having me, host, and it's Baba.
Baba,
Um,
sorry. I don't know why I'm saying baby. Baba, okay.
I do get your point, brother. We all share a common enemy, and we all fight in this war. But I also do get Albert's point. We are on different parts of the battlefield, right? We all facing the same war, but we are at different parts of the battlefield. And I think that's where we're having that conflict and friction there, right? Like, yeah, your mom has suffered like just as much as the FBAs have suffered. But I think a lot of us, well, FBAs, quote unquote, are still under the understanding that Yes, that may have happened to your mother and your father, but this is not something that you guys were physically forced into, right? Like there's a certain demographic of BLK people that were purposely concentrated and forced into this, whereas the other derivatives of us haven't
So
weren't.
is there like a struggle competition going on that, or like
Not
Olympics
about a
that
struggle
we're not aware
competition.
of?
No, hold on. Let me
No,
say
no,
this
no,
real
no,
Can I
quick.
no.
Your
please
parents,
finish what I'm
Baba,
saying, man?
yo, do y'all not hold on? We're gonna have some impulse control. He's stating something. I'm asking clarifying questions. That's how it goes
Right.
in any critical,
Thinking
dialogue.
conversation. Right.
So, Baba, please.
What's up? What's up?
So, is it like a ranking system? Is it like, okay, well, these people went through this struggle or they went through this, so they're more like there's a hierarchy basically when it comes to struggle. And so we treat each other accordingly. Is that how it works?
Well, I wouldn't call it a hierarchy because I don't think there's a hierarchy to destruction, like
So
destroying people.
do you think that B
But
ones, because what I'm starting to hear more and more and more.
can I answer that first? Can I answer that first?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm not saying that it's a competition. What I'm saying is that the the darker it is, the more light can be revealed, right? So depending on the people who suffer the most, you can get more insight and more wisdom there. Instead of making it a competition thing, it should be looked at and perceived as, okay, look, their experiences are deeper. So how about we focus more there, right? And then we could probably get a better understanding of why my mother faced this
The
in
whole.
school,
Okay,
why
I can
this,
see to
that, and the
that.
third happened, why now this is occurring in the system,
I
now why
will.
today.
I will concede to that, sir. And I hate to call you sir. I don't mean to be like facetious, but yeah, I'll concede to that. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me.
And
Okay, walk,
I
walk me
believe
through
that's
it.
where we need to really have that discussion, right? We need to really focus on those who have suffered deeper. Doesn't mean they're better or worse. It's just that it gives them more of a concentration and focus on how of the root and cause of the issues. Do you understand?
Okay, I will concede to that. That makes sense to me.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
And I
so
think
now
that's
we
what
have.
Albert is
Yes,
trying
maybe
to
that's what he's trying to
communicate
say.
without actually being able to break it down to that level. If am I right,
That's
Albert?
understandable to me. So
let
the
me, let
purpose
me, let me,
is
let me.
So the purpose basically is to for everybody, not just people who are melanated. I'm just gonna say it like that. It is for everybody to kind of see the struggle, the pain, the things that foundational Black people went through, and then get to work with rectifying it. Is that what you're saying?
Right, because we got to think about the foundational Black Americans were the first experimental rats, quote unquote. Right. So if I want to do a social experiment, the first nation of people I'm gonna work on is who?
I
Right.
got you. No,
That's why you have projects, right? And who's normally in those projects? And what is a project? It's an experiment, right? Where you do research and you do all this data to figure out and understand, et cetera, et cetera. But then once I figure it out, now I can now distribute this across the globe because now it has worked through these people. I've concentrated it first. Now that it has worked, I can now implement this systemically across the country and eventually across the planet. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so you answered one of my questions, one of many. My next question is because I'm still not. I get where you're going, and I apologize. This AI, it should have what is the purpose of B1 and FBA. So okay, so why the discourse? It seems on this app. I'm simply asking the questions because I was never aware of B1, FBA. And then as I scroll, sometimes my algorithm, some certain lives, they slip through the cracks, to be honest with you. Because
Right.
I'm not involved in FBA or B1. I'm more like messy TikTok. I'm like a little of that. But
Entertainment.
the rest of my the rest of my algorithm is like plant talk and shit like that. Do you get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Sir,
So my thing is
sir, can I say this?
why the
Can,
discourse?
can,
Anybody? Yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
I say
Why?
this?
Yeah,
Here we
please.
go, sir. You just said
Stop
it
calling me
yourself. You said,
sir. Like that shit is bothering
okay,
me.
you
Stop calling me
said
sir.
it. You said it, Jay. You said it. I'm gonna call you Jay. Jay, you said it yourself. You said my parents came over here and went to school and they became doctors. You said it
I
yourself,
didn't
Jay.
say,
Now, when you say we got the same enemy, hold on, Jay. When you say we got the same enemy, your parents came over here and went to school. Do you think they was gonna mess up going to school to fight for my rights? Do you think that the lawyer was gonna mess up his stuff? Do you think y'all came over here and y'all pledged allegiance to the flag? We didn't have to do that.
uh,
So when I fight my enemy, I'm fighting them heads up. Y'all stay out of the way and talk about the fight. Y'all talk about it, but you're
all
not in
right.
it, sir.
Okay, so what's never going to happen is you're not going to tell me what my parents did and didn't do as far as fighting for their rights and fighting for the rights of people that look like them. So that I'm not even going to touch that. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's an FBA or B1 talking point, but I do know that people of all different backgrounds, and I'm not talking about people, white people. I'm talking about people that are Haitian, people that are from all the islands, the Caribbean fraternity, have come to the United States and have dealt with racism, have dealt with the same thing, FBA and B1, and have also been right by y'all. And here's another thing too, is unless people tell you, like you wouldn't know I'm first generation United States if I didn't tell you. So that's another thing too. So let's be clear on that. So let's stay away from what my parents did and what they didn't do, because you have the slightest idea. Yeah.
Let's take the rest of
Let's
them then.
and
Let's move your parents, but let's talk about the rest of them that talk that smack. We
We
came over here in plain, y'all came in chain. Let's talk about the rest of them that come over here and talk
all
with
right.
that. How
well,
about
Let's
that?
I think I know what he's
let's
talking about, Justin.
Yeah, I
So a
think
lot
so.
of these,
I think I know what he's talking about too. And that's why I asked very specifically. And Baba was able to, and I don't know why he keeps circling back to that. That to me is speaking volumes. But Baba explained it very perfectly to me. So, because it seems as to me, for lack of better words, for lack of understanding, maybe, and that's why I'm having the conversation so that I get a better understanding. It seems very, very struggle Olympics to me.
you know what it was? So a lot of the FBAs love to have this narrative. We were already here. So yeah, but the thing about it is that if that was the case, then why the Native Americans aren't welcoming you with open arms? What is that all about? Right? The other thing is that like there's this other part of this landmass, right? That nobody talks about, and that's where the Latin community, the
I'm not.
Tainos,
But here's the
right?
thing. Wait, hold up. Hold on. Right. Like in the comments, and Brian, I'm listening to you, but and I shouldn't be reading the comments all the time. But this is ridiculous here. So telling the facts about our situation in Struggle Olympics, no, it's not Struggle Olympics. I'm saying what it's
I'm right on the panel, sir. You could speak with me.
what it's. You know what? I'm not. Yeah.
No, I'm right here. You could talk to me directly, man, and I'll be more than glad to have this
What I will
conversation.
say. What I will say is this: is
No, no,
that
you can talk to me straight up.
I don't believe that it is the struggle Olympics. What I am saying, it's appearing that way. It's appearing that you have a group of people, of black people, who are saying, we were here in the United States first, like that's a flex, right? Then to say that, you know what, nobody else knows our struggle because we have somehow, from what I'm hearing, and if I'm hearing this incorrectly, then correct me.
Yeah, you are. And I'll
We
wait till
don't
after
have
you're
the same
done so I can
enemy.
address that.
We don't have the same enemy, right? And so we're the foundation. And I have to beg the question now. If you're the foundation, if the foundation of the FBA and the B1, because there's a difference between B1 and FBA, correct? It's black first and then FBA. Is it two different sects?
It's
Somebody,
basically because they can't get along. They and these are led by a bunch of men, by the way. This is not a female led entity on any behalf because it's not even allowed. The thing about it is that they can't get along with each other, even though their cause is the same exact premise. I want to get back to my point for a second because it ties into what you're saying. So you have this FBA, you have this FBA entity, right? Right,
Brian?
because I don't listen to anybody else while I'm speaking, because my voice is the most important. The thing about it is that, sir, my thing is that like you have the people who say they were FBA, and then you have the other half of the country which Mexicans occupy, right? Who was who? It was this place is what it always was. America is this institution that lies on top of this, institution that was already in place. That's called the indigenous institution. It's in plain sight, actually, but you would never know because it ain't none of your GD business. Unless someone says, "Hey, come on," and we'll teach you the game and you'll be a part of our system, then you'll know. But other than that, to the average person, you have a very Western operating limited brain, because I ain't never seen no brilliant person that come out of this MF. At the end of the day, B1, C1, vitamin D, FBA, it's all the same BS. Because let's have the conversation about that. Let's get back to the purpose. The reason why B1 split is because y'all can't get along with each other. How many times are y'all out there feeding the turkeys? Because here's the thing, since they cut those stamps, how many of those FBA and B1 engines are going to be out there feeding the community under the guise of FBA/B1? Now, this is when y'all go radio silent. So I don't want to hear nothing about why you fighting the cause, because nobody sees it happening. Nobody sees that happening. Pass the mic.
Brian? Yeah, let's go to, what is it, sir?
Who are you to tell us who we are, bro, and what we gonna do, bro? You don't know us, bro. You don't know what us, and we got a lot of rights to do.
This cannot happen over here. This cannot happen over here. This is not about to be. We are all grown men. Whether we're in B1, FBA, we are grown men. We are going to show some decorum, and it's going to have some. We are all going to have some impulse control. That's how I run my life. It is not going to be a circus for these folks. It's not going to happen. A panel of black men should be able to talk about a controversial issue without fucking losing their minds and without being disrespectful. That is crazy to me.
This man was just disrespectful to my whole clan, and I'm supposed to.
We're not doing that. Let's go to what is your name down there? Deline. I mean,
No, my name's not no Deline. It's delineationist, right?
Delineationist.
Yes, sir.
You wanted to have a point.
Yeah, I have a lot of comments that could be said. So I'd rather get to the prompt. What is the purpose of B1 and FBA, right? What's been going on in the United States? There has been an influx of immigrants, such as maybe yourself and others, right, who come into Black American politics and has specifically undermined Black American justice claims when it comes to reparations, such as the California Task Force.
So is a purpose of if
wait no I'm addressing your prompt.
No. I'm asking a clarifying question. Is the purpose of FBA and B1, is it connected to reparations?
Yes, it's called delineation, and I'm a man who also wrote the book called Delineationology, the science of delineation for Negro Americans. So I am very qualified to speak on this, and I'm coming from the perspective of delineation. So the reason why there's a separation between Negro people in the United States is because I'm more of the old school way, but I know the younger generation like to call themselves FBA, B1, etc. Right, freedmen. These are the different, I would say, delineation names that